Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the TB&J podcast. Sitting across from me, Troy Whittingham. Sitting over there is Chris Carroll.
Did you hear about the fox that bit a bunch of senators and gave them rabies?
This
is a real story.
Continue.
Apparently a rabid fox got into, I believe it was the Senate building, and just bit I think they bit like 6 or 7 people.
I had heard that they had found a rabid fox in D.C. and they put it down.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that it had bitten people.
Pretty sure I read somewhere that it bit people.
Dude.
And foxes are mostly active at night.
I was gonna say, do you think that, because of this, a bunch of senators have rabies and they're gonna come up with some unhinged laws, but that's already happening? They didn't need the rabies.
No, they gave the fox rabies.
Oh, yeah. The fox didn't have rabies ahead of time.
And certainly got it from the Senate. What did we watch, Jeff?
We watched the newest episode of Halo on Paramount Plus. And we literally just finished it and then sat down and recorded. I didn't even get a chance to crack my drink.
Ooh.
Sexy.
Now, everybody, take a guess what drink Jeff has off of the snap.
That's the dumbest game you could play. Every can sounds the same.
Send in your guesses.
Send in your guesses. If you guess right, we'll shout you out.
And I'll give you a kiss personally on the forehead.
Perfect. So, first of all, shout out to Chris's friend that he doesn't know exists, who tried to give us Paramount Plus. That was awesome.
Yeah, if you're listening, send in your guess on what Jeff's drink is.
Yeah. Let me know what you think I'm drinking. I'll give you one hint. It's a Coca-Cola product. There you go. Narrowed it down from 1 million to only 1/3 of a million.
You're ruining the game.
So we watched the newest episode of Halo, and it starts with
the weirdest fucking intro.
Did we want a thumbs up, thumbs down?
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Troy?
I think I'm gonna go thumbs down.
You're gonna... Okay.
Chris?
There's a lot to not like about this episode, but I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Okay.
But I'm retroactively giving last episode a thumbs down.
Oh?
Because I found something out. You remember Reth?
Yes.
Yeah, Reth was the crazy guy in the cage.
Yeah, that's an actual character from the Halo canon. Reth is not a human. Reth is a jackal. And the Rubble is supposed to be featuring both human and alien inhabitants.
Oh.
So a lot of fans are not happy.
It became very less interesting.
Extremely less
So
interesting.
retroactively, episode 2 gets a thumbs down from Chris, and 3 gets a thumbs up. I'm hesitantly thumbs up.
Okay.
So much to hate.
Because there's a lot to hate about this show. And here's the thing, right? So this episode, obviously if you're listening to this episode of the podcast, you watched the episode of the show.
Or you don't care at all.
So an entire play-by-play is not entirely necessary. We'll still do it to the best of our ability, probably, but an entire accurate play-by-play is not necessary. That said, this episode introduced Cortana. This episode had a lot of character development for John 117, and
that's the Master Chief.
That is the Master Chief. And I don't know how I feel about it. Because, all right, so we mentioned in episode 1 that I've played through Halo 1's campaign completely. I read Halo 2, and then I played Halo 3. And if you're just going by the basic trilogy of Chief's mission from the beginning of the evacuation of Reach to him going MIA, that would be his story. And the relationship he has with Cortana is not nearly as combative or hostile in the games as it is in this show. He seems to be openly ridiculing
hostile.
Cortana, and he's certainly hostile towards her, and get out of my head, I don't want you, get the fuck out of here. And also, speaking of that, she's in his head.
Yes, she's physically implanted in his head, which is not how the games go.
No. So in the games, Cortana is still an AI, and she's still developed from Halsey's brain, so that's still accurate. But Halsey still being alive, she doesn't die to make Cortana in the game. But she's a chip that you can put into anything. Like she was on
like a Frito.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a little AI chip that was in the Pillar of Autumn, and she was interfacing with the Autumn. And then when the Autumn was getting boarded by the Covenant and they had to evacuate, Captain
Keyes.
That is Captain Keyes.
Yes.
He takes Cortana out of
Oh,
the
we
ship.
have to talk about Captain Keyes this episode too.
We will. Captain
Jeff,
Keyes.
you may have gotten confused because in the games, Captain Keyes is not a black man.
Yeah, he's not. But I mean, whatever.
I'm all for it though. He looks great in this.
Yeah, he looks great. But Keyes takes Cortana out of the Autumn and gives it to Chief, and Chief puts it in his helmet. And then she can interface with him and his vitals and be like his the voice in his head kind of thing. And that's how she is in Halo. But in this, they literally drill a hole in the base of John's brainstem and implant Cortana in him. And even though she's in him, she also has access to literally everything around him, and she can also be places he isn't, like miles away. It's very odd exactly how she works now.
So, like in the games, she can do that to a degree, where she can influence certain systems.
Sure, but doesn't Chief have to be near them?
Yeah, I mean, like for the door panel, they're right next to it. As for talking to Halsey, I mean, they're on a UNSC military base. They can probably jack into the intercom or something.
Sure. I'll give you that, because she was built to be like perfectly familiar with UNSC technology. I will afford that.
That piece is not the suspension of disbelief I need to make. It's the implanting into John's skull.
Yeah, the implanting into John's skull is really weird. And then, like, she has the physical manifestation of herself that appears, which I get that we need to see as the audience. Because in the game, the voice in your head translates easily as a player. But if you're doing anything in a visual medium, like a TV show, you do need to see the character.
Yeah,
and
I'll forgive that.
Yeah, and they do have Jen Taylor doing it, who is the voice and model for Cortana in the games. So it's a perfect, like, one-to-one from the games to the show.
She does such a good job.
She does such a good job. And for the show, they model her to look like an AI. Like, I don't know if you listeners know the Sam character that Samsung invented. You've probably heard about like all the thirst memes that came out after she got invented. But like, she looks like that.
My initial statement on it was, I was like, I feel like Cortana's about to try to send me a new like phone plan.
Yeah, absolutely. She's trying to upgrade you to the new Galaxy S25.
I don't want it.
No,
good.
she's trying to get you to upgrade to Windows 11.
No.
Yeah, that's a little more accurate.
Don't do it, folks. Not yet. Give it like another year.
Oh, God. Speaking of AI, I was talking to my Echo this morning, getting the weather, and it told me that if I wanted to, I can buy an add-on pack for the Echo so that Shaq can be my AI voice. I'm not even kidding.
Did you buy it?
No.
Are you going to?
I don't want Shaq's voice in my Echo.
Why not?
I can barely stand his voice in
But
normal
what about
scenarios.
Steel? What about the movie Steel?
No. Whenever he comes on TV, it sounds terrible.
What about Kazam?
It sounds like he's got a mouthful of marbles and he's trying to talk to me
He's the star
around
of
the marbles.
Kazam.
I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't like it. And then Amazon's like, did you know you can get Shaq as your new AI voice? I'm like, no.
What about
Who
when he was in
asking for
Grown
that?
Ups 2?
I don't give a shit. I don't like Shaq. I don't give a fuck about Shaq. That's not the point of this podcast, though. If you bought the Shaq add-on pack for your Alexa device, let me know. Let me know how much it cost, and let me know how much you hate it now.
If you're listening, guess what drink Jeff is drinking?
You know what? There are certain packs I would buy. Like if there was a George Carlin one, I'm buying that tomorrow. If there was like a Sam Jackson one and the wake word was motherfucker.
Isn't there already a same?
No, not that I know of.
I thought there was one. I could be wrong.
Not that I know of, but like the wake word has to be motherfucker. Like, hey motherfucker, and then what's the weather today? Yo motherfucker, it's thunderstorming right now, bitch. And then that'd be awesome.
Only if it's the censored version of Snakes from the Plane one.
Jeff Bezos, Sam, if either of you are listening, give me a call. We'll set this up.
And also the light on the Amazon Echo should turn purple.
Oh yeah, perfect. Does it have RGB capabilities, or is it just blue?
Probably.
No, because it turns green for notifications and yellow if there's an internet outage. So I'm sure it's got some sort of...
Oh my god. Back to Halo.
Back to Halo, please. Thank you, Troy. Chris, rant about this for a second, because you had opinions.
Well, the opinion that I wanted to state most was last episode with Ref.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the characterization of John in this, that is Master Chief, is really off.
It's
and I think
butchered.
And I think a lot of it's based on this whole suppression pellet that he keeps in his spine. It's not like embedded into any of his blood. It's just sitting under the skin, which doesn't make a fucking bit of sense.
Well, maybe his spine is pushed superficially to the top of the skin because of the implants or the muscle mass or something.
Actually, I think in the games they are. Anyway, I digress.
So that might make sense.
Jeff's random bullshit kind of worked that time.
Random bullshit, go.
Other show.
Go.
So the big departure is that there's this chemical in him that's suppressing his emotions, whereas in the games, his emotions are suppressed because he's been fucking indoctrinated since he was a kid.
Right.
So he buys the UNSC Kool-Aid.
Exactly.
Real hard.
Exactly, right? So it's not...
And he takes out the pellet, he listens to a violin, he looks
Cello.
at it...
They were
Who
cellos.
fucking cares?
They were cellos.
He looks at a dog.
I played cello for 10 years. I know what the fuck a cello looks like.
Anyway.
Yeah, but a cello is just sort of like the violin's uncle.
The creepy uncle.
The one you have to sit down to play.
And then he wants to pet a fucking dog, but he doesn't pet the dog, and I'm like, just pet the fucking dog.
Well, he doesn't want to show...
Go outside, touch some grass.
Go outside, touch some grass.
That's literally what this episode is. He goes outside and touches grass.
Yeah, but like he doesn't... I think that part of the reason he didn't touch the dog is because he wants to keep up the facade that he still has the pellet in. He doesn't want to arouse suspicion.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, I think it is an interesting introspection to his character, just because in the games you don't get that.
No, in the games he's very much the military man. You said it yourself. He drank the Kool-Aid.
Especially since in the games it's always, some catastrophe is happening. I need to fucking work. You don't get to see him in his off time.
Because that's not a good video game.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta always do it as in like battles.
You don't get
keep going.
You never get to see Master Chief do his taxes.
No, you never get to see him do his taxes. You don't know exactly how much he owes.
He uses TurboTax.
And you never get to see kids kiss. Anyway, we were going to talk about that and we skipped it.
Let's fucking talk about
You're
that.
blowing out my mic. Calm down.
This is important, Jeff, because for whatever fucking reason, they're showing the backstory to McKee, which is the woman that's
in the
adopted,
Covenant. She's the chosen one, the blessed one.
And in like a weird cold open flashback, they're showing her on some trash world, which doesn't feel like Halo.
And to be fair, Chris is not criticizing the planet. It's literally a trash planet where the inhabitants are sifting through the trash to find something usable.
And they're the trash man.
It's Raxus Prime of it as a Star Wars analogy.
Pretty much. And so McKee is, whatever the fuck her name, is talking to some weird kid, and they're reading a book. And they just go into this weird...
She's a child as
well.
well.
She's a child.
This isn't
They
like
go into
modern
this
day.
weird diatribe where they're reading a book, and they mention the word kissing. And then they kiss. Two kids on screen in Halo. Kiss. Why?
It wasn't so much a kiss so much as their lips touched. Like, they didn't actually
It's just a weird scene.
Oh, it's weird. Don't get me wrong. It's real fucking weird. I didn't sign up for this. And then the Covenant show up.
I think I saw Chris. I
was so happy the Covenant showed up.
Yeah, Chris was like, "Thank God the Covenant are here.
Just
please glass this planet.
Level it. Leave it a glass.
I really
Turn
did.
it into
I think
a marble.
It was funny. I think I saw Chris grab the ejector seat on your couch, and I didn't know your couch had an ejector seat.
Oh yeah, we paid the extra premium at IKEA for that.
Huh. Mm-hmm. So it's not the ejector seat as much as it's the ejector network seat.
Which you still have to assemble.
I had to assemble it myself. So he could have pulled the lever. It might not work. I don't know if I did the wiring right. Those
I'd like
diagrams
to
are real
apologize
hard.
to our Swedish fans.
Do we have Swedish fans?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Email in
and tell me what you thought of the Swedish chef character in the Muppets.
Tell us what you think Jeff's drink is. In your own Swedish tongue. We won't understand it, but we want it.
The Coca-Colas. That was so rude.
Jeff, go sit down.
I am sitting.
No. Over on the couch.
On the couch, I built myself.
I'll take care of the podcast.
So the Covenant show up, and they have this like glowy staff thing that's like pointing them towards the artifact they're looking for.
It
And
looks like
it's her.
Tartarus's hammer from Halo 2.
Yeah, it does, and it's pointing at her, at McKee, and the Covenant's like,
claw.
oh, we found her.
The claw.
The claw.
The claw has chosen me.
And
Has
these
found the blessed one.
these two massive elites just like kidnap McKee. After, by the way, the guards of this trash planet beat to death her boyfriend of all of 40 seconds.
Now, would you call this the trash planet?
Yeah, this is a garbage trash planet. So that's like McKee's whole backstory, and then we find out she took a Covenant ship and then tried to like lure the UNSC. She made a jump, and then like the ship was dead in the water, and the UNSC sent out like a probe. They were like, "Hey, what's up?" And
they were going to open fire.
They were going to open fire, and then she comes on the radio, and she's like, help me, please. So they send a pod over, and she comes back, and they search her, and they're just like, are you okay? Did they hurt you? And she's like, I'm fine. And then we get the fucking hunter worms.
So fucking hype.
Yeah. After she hangs up the radio
Also,
with the pod, we see the worms crawl out of the hunter armor.
Cool little Easter egg. The pod looks like the escape from pod from Halo CE.
Yes, it does.
And it's very Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 with the Doc Ock claw arm scene. Remember the scene from where Doc Ock just like rips all the doctors apart in the surgery room? It had a lot of that, of like, this isn't really a horror show, but
it's a horror show. All the hunter worms like come out of the vents in the ship, and they're just like grabbing all the soldiers with their battle rifles and their magnums. Yeah,
Lot of fan service in this entire scene.
Service.
In this scene, I didn't hate McKee as much.
No, she's just walking through like a badass, straight faced, no remorse, not giving a fuck.
Although her plan goes downhill much faster if one of these people had the foresight to not shoot one of the worms and just go, I'll shoot the lady, actually.
I was wondering why no one was shooting her. It's like, she's clearly responsible here. She's walking through it.
Yeah,
untouched.
she seems pretty evil, actually. If I shoot her in the head, it might actually be a good thing.
The show might be over 2 episodes earlier. Who knows? But she's searching the ship for any sign of where the demon, John, took the artifact. And the captain's like, I'm not telling you a goddamn thing. Oh, and by the way, the ship won't tell you anything either, because sterilization protocols are in effect that wipe the ship's entire data banks.
Yes.
So she tries to hack in, and she learns literally nothing.
Yes.
So she radios
the
back. The
UNSC has this protocol called the Cole Protocol, which is to prevent the Covenant from learning pretty much anything about Earth or any of its colonies. So as soon as like the ship's compromised, they start scrubbing data.
Exactly. So she learns nothing from the ship, and then she's like, well, fuck, I guess we got to go back, and we're going to keep going on to Madrigal, because that was the original plan, where the artifact was found. We'll start there. But we know, as the audience, that Quan Ha and Soren, thank you, are on their way to Madrigal, because Quan has convinced him that she needs to go back and fight, because the Vishner, the new chancellor mayor man, is governor. Thank you. I whatever, all the same thing.
Mr. Man.
Mr. Man.
Governor Vishner Finisher.
Mr.
That's his name.
Batman.
No, that's the joke we made last time.
Oh,
it's a callback, you see.
Ah. Why did you say it like a Dr. Seuss book? It's a callback, you see.
Because you're a child.
A callback from you to me.
So Quan needs to go fight Vishner because pride, and Vishner betrayed her father or something.
And he's just a bad dude.
Yeah, and Soren's like, all right, I guess I'm in for the ride. I guess I'll go be a Spartan man again.
He's getting paid.
I bet you guys $1 million he dies on.
I was going to say, is he dying?
There's no way he lives. Actually, he's a Spartan. Spartans never die. They just go MIA. So, yeah.
Gotta keep up
Maya?
that morale.
Maya?
No, Mia.
Mia. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Learn how to
the
spell.
character from Resident Evil 7.
Gotcha, understood.
Yeah.
Didn't play Resident Evil 7.
Whenever someone mentions Resident Evil 7, I just remember what's her name? That stupid bitch that keeps getting kidnapped and you got to keep saving her, and she just keeps going, Leon.
That's Ashley.
Ashley, that's her fucking name.
Not as annoying as she is made out to be.
Fun fact for all of you people that have been on the internet for like a decade. I was watching an old Rooster Teeth podcast where Michael Jones was talking about how if you beat the game, you get a suit of armor for Ashley, so the zombies can't pick her up. So they get to her and they try to pick her up and they just fall over, and then Michael would just sneak up and just stab them all with the knife and then just go run and hide again until they would come back and try to get her again. And it's how he beat the game on the hardest difficulty.
Here's another fun story about that armor is sometimes you have to catch Ashley as she drops off the ladders. When she's in that armor, Leon will hold his back afterwards because he fucking strained it.
That's hilarious. But yeah, that's Resident Evil 5? 6? 4?
34.
4 is the one where the logo... No, 6 is the one where the logo looks like a giraffe getting a blowjob.
Sure.
Yeah. I've shown you guys this before.
Probably.
It's not worth bringing up again. Back to Halo. So that's what's happening with Madrigal and McKee and Kwanha and Soren. But I don't know if I like what's happening with John. It doesn't feel like Halo.
Yeah.
It just feels like generic sci-fi, and this is a complaint I had in the first episode way back. It feels like a generic sci-fi thing, and you just put a Halo skin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of this feels like what I know Halo to be. It just feels like you put the Covenant in here as the bad guys, and then you put the UNSC in here as the good guys, but really, you could have called it the United Nations Space... Oh, wait, no. Damn, they did that. You could have called it the
UNSC. Oh, wait, damn it, they did that.
Damn it, they did that too. You could have called it the Earth Defense Force and versus the Alien Assault Force, and then just... Because that would have been the same thing. Like, Halo had those artifacts, but, like, Chief's not special, and there was no McKee. Any human could activate the artifacts, and that's why the Covenant fucking...
Well,
They're all known as reclaimers.
Yeah.
In that same vein, because that was sort of one of my sort of statements with the second episode, was I thought the first episode was not a good generic sci-fi show. The second one I thought was a better generic sci-fi show. Third one, what do you think as a generic sci-fi show? If it wasn't called Halo, what would you think your opinion of this episode would
I think
be?
it'd be good.
You think
It's
it'd be good?
definitely ramping up the sci-fi vibes. It's just they're invoking my nostalgia and childhood memories for the sake of invoking them, and I don't like
I
that.
mean, literally all of our favorite parts seem to be when the hunter showed up. So
right, exactly.
When something Halo happens.
Yeah.
When something actually Halo happened in the Halo show, I really enjoyed it, and that's pretty much my summary of the show so far. Whenever actual Halo stuff happens and I get to see that on the big screen in 1080 or 4K, that's amazing, and I love it.
Now, how do you feel when they do Halo things like, say, Miranda Keyes is Halsey's daughter?
Right. Let's fucking talk about that.
Please do, Chris. Let us have it.
So, Halsey is having a conversation with her clone, where the clone drops...
Which is Halo accurate-ish.
I don't believe she ever talks to her clone. I believe they just clone and get the brain.
They do the flash clone of Halsey herself, and they use the brain to make Cortana. So that's accurate enough so far. But in the show, they decided to make her have a conversation with her clone, and the clone
Which is the only purpose for that is Halsey's weird narcissism and plot.
literally
I mean, that tracks 100% with Halsey.
Halsey is a huge narcissist and a giant bitch, so it absolutely tracks.
If somebody told me that Halsey spoke to her clone before extracting the brain, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and then I bet she probably grabbed some popcorn as the clone's brain was oozing out of its own skull.
While she watched her assistant try to kiss the clone.
Yeah,
while
also,
it was
what's with all
sedated.
the awkward kissing in this episode?
No, there was no kissing. He just went for it, and
He
then
wanted
Halsey
to
interrupted, and he was like, "Oh no, I better not." Like, what the fuck?
So is he weirdly into Halsey? Or...
That's what I'm getting from this. But
And the only person that Halsey's weirdly into is herself.
And
So maybe
apparently
she should've
Captain
kissed the clone.
Keyes.
Yeah.
So the clone says, "What of Miranda, our daughter?" And the whole me and Chris missed it. I was like, "What the fuck?"
We
And Chris was like,
rewinded
"No, rewind it." So I hit the rewind button, and she said it again, and Chris was like, "What the fuck?" We flipped out so loudly on my couch. Keyes is not Halsey's kid.
I sent a message to my sister, who is a gigantic Halo fan, and she just sent back, "No." No other words. I haven't gotten a response back yet.
No, absolutely not. Especially since the Captain Keyes and Miranda Keyes both have, like, I don't know, hearts and souls, and Halsey has neither of those things. Like, I don't understand any
I
of
don't
that.
understand what the point of the reveal is going to be later.
I have no idea. I have no
Like, I don't know what the
idea.
end game is.
No idea. And, like, I don't know, man. What?
Apparently that's correct.
No.
Apparently Miranda Keyes is born Miranda Halsey,
Huh.
No.
daughter of the late Captain Jacob Keyes and Dr. Catherine Halsey.
No.
I gotta make sure that this isn't just for the fucking show.
Please make sure that this is actual Halo canon. Otherwise, we look like huge jackasses.
I mean, we are huge jackasses.
Yeah, let's be honest.
But here's the thing, in the games, it's never fucking mentioned.
No, it's never mentioned. It's never brought up.
So it's probably in the book. I probably read it at some point and just glossed over it because I thought it was dumb.
Probably, yeah.
Just because Halsey's not into anybody.
No. We learn a lot about Halsey in Halo 4, though. Miranda never came up.
Yeah.
That seems weird. You would think that she would bring up her fucking kid, especially since we know the kid and we fought with the kid.
Mm-hmm.
I say the kid, she's a grown-ass woman, but, like, you know what I mean. It seems really strange that they would never mention that connection in the games, and they would say it in the show, and it's just canon, and the games are like, oh, yeah, totally. And it's like, wait, what? How do you... What?
So I'm remembering back to the books. I remember in Halo: The Fall of Reach, the book, Captain Keyes and Halsey do talk a bunch. I don't remember them getting together, and I feel as though I would remember.
You don't remember
that.
Captain Keyes putting on some Barry White and then just being all like, "Bow, chicka, wow, wow."
I'm seeing some things from 2015 and before saying that she could be her mother. So maybe we are just assholes.
I mean, maybe.
You know what? I'll take the blame for that because I was the one that really said it wasn't true.
That's fine.
You guys aren't as big Halo fans as I am.
Yeah, that's true. You're like super deep in the lore, and I'm just like balls deep in the lore. You're like your whole body's in there, man. You wearing it like a skin suit.
You were
Buffalo
born
Billed
in
that
the
shit.
Halo lore, molded by it.
I was born into it. All right, fine. Pass. I'll give it a pass with the whole Miranda being Halsey's kid thing. It just seemed really... the other thing that I took big issue with is that Cortana is acting like a double agent. She's like pretending to be on John's side, but secretly reporting everything back to Halsey and taking Halsey's orders, which she's like, make sure John trusts you and believes you and blah, 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 because we're about to betray him.
So here's what I think they're going with. Cortana develops an affection for John in the games, similar to the affection that Halsey develops for John, in sort of like a motherly sort of role. Although with Cortana, it's a bit more equal, less motherly, more partner.
It's a bit more fuck me.
Eh.
I
imagine they're going to be hostile towards each other. But then when it comes down to when Halsey says to betray John, which I don't think she'll do either, Cortana will say no.
Well,
She'll
it seems
refuse.
like they're setting something up because they, John, after removing his emotional suppression pellet.
By the way, get to see John Butt,
Yeah, you get to see a lot of
The Master
Pablo
Chief-
Schreiber.
No
but
cock, though.
Master Chief's ass.
you get to see the Master Chief's
Well, I mean,
ass.
we didn't get to see McKee's tits in the previous one.
I
So it's
still say
equal. It's equal. We've seen their butts.
That's
Dude.
fair.
Dude, what if it turns out they're like siblings?
They're gonna do something like that. I hate to break it to you.
They're
Chris has
Chris
his
is
microphone
already
to his head.
pissed off. So after removing his pellet, he
Fuck,
goes
they
back.
could do that. Fuck.
Here's the thing.
They both activate the relics. Oh, fuck.
Exactly, right? And
Uh-huh.
here's the thing. So he goes to the computers with Cortana after removing his pellet. He's trying to learn whatever he can about his home planet because he touches the artifact again. He realizes what he's seeing are his own memories as a child. So he's like, which of these planets did I grow up on? Oh, it's probably this one. Tell me all about it. And she's like, well, there was a program where Reach had sent out like a colony to work on the planet because it was a barren wasteland beforehand, and they were moderately successful until a plague hit and wiped out most of the population. The rest of the population was relegated to a different planet, which was sealed off, and that's pretty much all the data we have about that. And I bet that other planet they got relegated to must be the trash planet.
Maybe.
and that's where the kid ended up.
Maybe.
Because why else would there just be like a kid with no parents sitting there?
Jeff, orphans are a thing.
Orphans are sure. I said it out loud, and I was
Jeff,
like, "Wait, you fucking idiot!"
Hey, Jeff, question for you. Who's your favorite superhero again?
You guys don't need to shit on me at the same time. All right, take a turn, please.
I mean, surely their parents just went out for milk and didn't come back again.
All right, Chris, you've shit on me. Troy, what was your quote?
I was asking who your favorite superhero was, just out of
Batman.
curiosity. Oh yeah.
What happened to Batman's parents?
Yeah, how are Batman's parents?
They're fine.
They're just
that killed you.
over a stroll, just like Batman's parents.
That killed you, man. Are you okay? I've
No,
never
they
seen you
really
laugh so hard.
hit me. Just a matter of fact, they're fine.
They're fine.
But yeah, I imagine during a war with a genocidal alien race, some parents might be dead.
Well, the Covenant weren't like super well known at that point in the universe yet. They were
I
like,
mean, they still killed people.
yeah, sure, but they weren't like everywhere yet.
Also, there's like car crashes,
I haven't seen a car yet in this universe.
Yeah, we saw
plane
warthogs.
crashes.
Warthogs aren't cars.
Yes, they
They're
are.
like a puma thingy. Chupa thingy.
There you go.
Chupa thingy.
That's the reference, Jeff.
Yeah, yeah.
With
Drives on all four like a
helicopter
puma.
crash.
I've seen helicopters. I've seen tanks. I've seen military vehicles. I've not seen civilian vehicles. I don't think ever.
No, we have. We saw a Chevy Tahoe.
That's right. We saw the Chevy Tahoe in episode 1 with the machine gun on the
What
back.
about
of
just
it.
like generic sickness? If her parents
hey.
fell down and hit her head real hard.
Like a plague.
like a plague? Who knows? Wait a second. No, but like they're definitely related. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, what you're correct.
They're definitely like brother and sister.
It's gonna be something, and Dean's gonna be real mad about it. That's
yeah,
what's gonna
and
happen.
John's gonna be like, "What?" and she's gonna be like, "What?"
He's
and
gonna
it's
go whoa because he's got emotions now. And that's what people with emotions do.
But because that episode was directed by George R.R. Martin, so they're actually gonna fuck, and then they find out they're siblings.
Oh no!
And then they fuck again.
Oh no!
And then Cortana comes in and it's just like Dracarys.
and then
Dracarys.
they both die horribly.
They
Yeah.
get crushed by a rock.
They get crushed by a rock. The castle crumbles around them.
And then John comes back.
Yep, that's how it all happens. Because he's wearing the Spartan armor that weighs like 4 tons.
Mm-hmm.
And then they make Bran the leader of the UNSC.
And they all lived happily ever after. That's our fan fiction, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what you heard, please leave us. No, I'm just kidding. They're definitely going to do something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're heading back to the home planet because John remembered that he drew a picture of like this big pillar thing that the artifact fits into, and that big giant thing is probably what activates the halos. And he's convinced that his dad made him bury it back on the planet, so they need to go there to look for it. And Halsey tells her assistant, who creepily tried to kiss the clone, I think his name is Aiden. She was like, Aiden's like, well, what if Chief discovers more of his memories while there? And Halsey's like, that's what Cortana's for.
I wanted to make fun of this guy more in previous episodes, but was kind of like, I shouldn't just make fun of this dude because of his appearance. He looks like that. You can't help that. And then I was
It's
like,
not his fault that his nose enters the room 2 minutes before he does.
after this episode, I'm like, nah, he's a creep. He's weird. Put him,
He's a
shove him in
real
a fucking locker.
He's
I mean,
a real
hey,
weird creep.
The actor's doing a good job.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the
I
actor
feel
probably
like
has
the character. I feel like the character is a creep.
nothing against the actor.
Would he
unless
be
he's
the
a creep.
Khonshu of the UNSC, just getting picked on and
Shoved in lockers.
Shoved in
just
lockers.
Flushed in the
God
UNSC
lockers.
toilets.
Throw back to the other episode we recorded today. So as far as sci-fi shows go, I'm on board. I'll watch this through. But it's
I would
certainly-
only think it's an okay sci-fi show. I think.
Yeah, it's like Halo light. Like there's just enough Halo to like keep
If
me
Halo
interested.
didn't exist in the world, I still would kind of be like, it's okay.
It's okay. It's an okay show. But you sprinkle in the Halo.
fan service is what's giving this the thumbs up.
I still think that if the
And I'm not talking about the butt.
Although that's some big fan service.
I still think that if there was the hunter scene in another generic sci-fi show and it wasn't a hunter, it filmed the exact same way, I think I'd still be like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool scene, but the fact that it was a hunter made us go, whoa, instead of being like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. This would be like an okay sci-fi show, but you sprinkle in the Halo fan service, and that gives it just that little extra leg up. It's definitely not as strong a show as Paramount thinks it is. Paramount's certainly using this as like their flagship show, and it's not that.
Well, I mean,
it's not going to carry the subscription service.
When their other things are like iCarly,
which is a Nickelodeon product that's
show.
not Paramount Plus
it's
exclusive.
true. It's also true.
Their other Paramount Plus stuff is like Picard and
Picard.
yeah, like I literally can't think of anything
and
else.
Picard.
Yeah, although I think Paramount Plus got bought by somebody.
I mean, Paramount Plus was this thing that launched and was just like, hey guys, we got The Office. And it was like, what else do you have? And you go,
No, that's
"Don't you?"
Peacock.
Oh, it is Peacock. You're right.
Yeah, because The Office is NBC.
Nah, they got nothing then. Who cares?
Yeah, they got nothing.
They got John Halo.
Paramount Plus was like, hey, we own the rights to Nick streaming, so we're going to take it off everything else. So if you want to watch the old SpongeBob episodes, guess what you got to buy? And it's like, oh, well, fuck you, man. What if I just want to binge SpongeBob and smoke a joint?
Well,
like
now
I
you
do?
can watch Camp Coral.
Yeah, pass, man. Or you can watch Fairly Odd Parents, Fairly Odder. Ooh.
There's not even an otter in it. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Literally unwatchable.
Literally unwatchable. There's no otters. I think that's it for this episode of Halo. Do you guys want to bitch about anything else that happened?
What else happens in this episode? Soren and Quanha go to the Magical.
Yeah,
and
they
we've
go
said
to
that.
Magical.
Soren buys a chicken.
He buys
Soren buys a lot of chickens.
He buys a
42 crates of chickens or something?
I think just a single case.
No. They 42 crates of chickens came into Rubble, and he gave one crate to the people that brought them in as like a gift.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Um,
And then he's like, I'll see you at dinner. We're having chicken. It's like, oh, yeah? Are you having chicken?
nah,
Great.
I think I'm done with this episode. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm glad they went with the whole having chicken for dinner route instead of the cockfighting route I thought they were going to go.
It's true.
I'm glad they didn't do that. But, like, there's not...
They would fight like a cool like space rat or something.
Also, like, they made a big
Chris,
fucking...
any cool space rats in Halo?
Halo 3 rat.
Oh.
He's famous.
Are there a couple spice rats in Halo?
No.
That's a reference to another podcast called Face Jam. Listen to Face Jam.
Don't reference other podcasts on this.
Listen to Face Jam.
How fucking consume face
no
jam.
no other podcast exists except for us.
Yeah, totally. You want to talk about narcissists.
Even though you've had another podcast.
I was going to make a point and I forgot what it was. Oh, what happened to the UNSC keeping close tags on fucking John after he like ditched the mission and went rogue for a while? He just came back and got a thing planted in his head that upgrades him to a new species, and now it's like, yup, we're just going to let you go back to work and you can do whatever you want. We're not going to question anything. It seems like a lot of brass are definitely turning a blind eye for some reason. And I don't...
It's almost like he's their greatest military asset.
If he's the greatest military asset, you don't exactly let him run free.
And he's also got the greatest military ass.
Yeah, he does.
Set.
Yeah. That's a
Set of asses.
He has
He
two
has a
asses?
set of asses.
Yep.
What? Set implies more than two.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's got Cortana's ass in him.
Ooh.
But I mean, like the UNSC, like the actual military men, they love him.
Yeah.
The regular soldiers, they're all about him. They don't care. They don't care that he went AWOL. It's like, chief will be chief.
Yeah, they're all playing some weird bocce ball game at one point, and they're like, "Hey, chief," and he's just like, "I don't care about any of you minor characters."
That wasn't bocce ball.
I know it wasn't bocce ball. I was trying to fucking compare it to something.
It was space bocce ball. It's spotchy ball.
Spotchy ball.
Spocce ball.
I don't think it's a real game, is it?
Bocce ball? Yes, it is.
No, I'm saying the thing that they were playing. You fucking dick.
Jeff, you're such a twat.
God, I hate you. I hate this podcast. I hate this family. This house is a prison.
Thank you all for listening to this episode of the TB&J podcast. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a kind review on your favorite podcasting platform and hit that like button and subscribe and do all those fun things. And thanks, Troy and Chris, for being here. I'm Jeff. That's the end of the episode because
We'll be back next week.
We'll be back next week with Halo.
Or we won't.
And Moon Knight.
Or we
and
won't.
Maybe Sonic.
Or we won't.
Sonic.
Or we won't. We still gonna do Morbius?
I was telling Troy before you got here, Chris. I saw a meme on the internet of a car with a broken window, and the tweet was I had 2 Morbius tickets in my car, and somebody broke in and left 4 more.
There's been so many posts about Morbius on r/shitty movie details.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is the end of the theme song. Nobody's listening at this point. Full spoiler alert for Morbius. D told me the end credit scene is apparently Vulture, Michael Keaton, getting like snapped into the Sony universe with Venom. Like he just gets. Who fucking knows, man? Apparently, like what happened with Venom at the end of No Way Home happened with Keaton, and now he's in the Venom universe.
But wouldn't he come back?
Okay.
Who fucking knows? Who cares at this point? Like, literally, who fucking cares? I love Michael Keaton. I don't give a shit about Vulture.
Hey, Jeff, it almost bears not mentioning.
And